intro. Go ahead.
Welcome to the Facial Recognition Comedy Podcast. I'm Pallavi.
You're not Pallavi.
What are you doing?
I'm Fizza.
I'm Zara.
And our special guest today is the very talented and funny actress, Molly Burnett.
Yay.
Thank you.
Yay. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
Molly and I met in improv class.
We do.
Oh.
Where are you guys doing improv?
Fantastic.
UCB. Yeah.
The Upright Citizens Brigade in Los Angeles. For anyone who doesn't know about the improv world.
Well,
Yeah. It's one of the top 2 schools in LA, right? It's either you go to UCB or you go to Groundlings.
I would agree. Yes.
Yeah. It was super fun. We spent hours together being silly, and Molly was always very positive the entire time.
Thank you.
She was great for improv. You're very positive. You got a lot of energy. You're very bubbly.
But that's like the stereotype for improvisers is like, you know, they're bubbly. Stand-ups are dark and troubled, and improvisers are very community oriented, and these are just stereotype. I don't like speaking in general. But I'm just curious.
I would say like dark shit on the side, and she would be the only one to catch it and laugh. Like I would just be quiet and like let my like stand up out like on the side, and she would be like, ah.
See, yeah, that's the actor part of me that's like dark and brooding. But like I do comedy for fun because I love it. But then I also have that, so I understand both sides. I feel like of improv and stand up.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
So are you at UCB kind of learning improv all over again? Like, what is your training up until this point? Because it seems like you have so many credits. So what are you doing at UCB, man?
UCB's for fun. That's like
Okay.
for me to just, if I'm not in the middle of shooting a show or something, that's just for me to keep working on your tool. I mean, they joke that acting is the laziest of all the arts because we don't practice. Like if you're a violin player, you practice 8 hours a day if you're good, obviously, and doing it professionally. But if you're an actor, you kind of like do an audition, and then if you're acting, great. But if not, we're not really doing anything. So I like to keep
working the muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you started your career pretty young. You were on Days of Our Lives was your big break when you were like 19, right?
Yes. Those
How
my
was-
college years.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's why I say because I dropped out and it makes my parents less sad. But
It's here in LA.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We shot that here.
So did you go to college in LA?
No, I went to I'm from Denver.
Yeah.
And then I went to school in New York City for a year, which is longer than I wanted to. But I promised my parents, so I did that, and then I moved to LA at 19.
Okay, so the audition was in New York.
No, it was in LA.
You just moved
So
to LA.
hold on. You did you were like, all right, forget New York. I'm going to go to Hollywood
Yes.
at 19. And then at 19, you got your break on Days of Our Lives?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
You must be really talented.
Thank you.
And you probably have a great look. And you did at 19, right? So
you.
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you. No, my struggle was after Days, I would say.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
everybody's like, it's a 10-year town no matter what. Whether you get success early on or in the middle or later on, nothing's gonna like hit for like 10 years. So once you accept that, it's great.
That's what I was told. It's an overnight success is 10 years. I started working more my 10th year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when you're 23 or 22 or 21 or 19, you don't want to hear that. No. Like you're just like I cannot be a PA at 28.
No.
But so many,
Absolutely
you
not.
get humbled very easily.
Very much so.
Like you want this shit to happen like
we all do.
in a year. Like in a year I'm gonna have $1 million, and then it's like
Yes.
oh no, it's like actually, you put in so much.
It's gonna take a lot of time.
You have to live this.
Yeah.
And not only that, but like to even be able to handle the different levels of success, you have to have a level of sanity too. So there's like a lot of personal work.
100%. I was gonna say, as frustrating as it is to move slowly, I think mental health wise, that's the most fulfilling way to do it. Because if I were to, like, I got Days at 19, and then at 22, if I booked the Teen Wolf role. And went that trajectory, I don't know where I'd be right now. You know what I mean? Like,
You might be less fun to hang out with.
Maybe I'm way less fun.
So were you being considered for the Teen Wolf role?
Yeah.
And it didn't happen?
Yeah,
Okay.
it contractually didn't work between Days and Teen Wolf, so we couldn't do Teen Wolf, and that's just part of my story.
Yeah.
But if I had gone straight from Days to that, I don't know at 22 what I would like. We've seen in the news with.
Are you a very different person now than you were at 22?
No, I think I'm the same, and I just mean like if you get a lot of success. I have a lot of friends that are like Disney kids, so like they got a lot of success really young, and it just messes with you. And we're seeing that with Demi Lovato and Mac Miller, rest in peace. And
I wanted to talk to you about him because in improv class we have a part where we all like start singing and stuff, and every time I go up to rap, she knows all the words better than me, and she's super into it. And I saw on your Instagram story and stuff. I wanted to talk about it too because it sucks. Yeah. You like it. He was a strong influence in your.
Oh my gosh, yeah. If you text my phone right now, the sound that it will make goes "aha," which is Mac Miller's ad lib, and I custom made that like 8 years ago. I've rocked with him for so long, and so to see, and you hear in his music, he was struggling. I mean, he's got a song called "Angel Dust." He was doing PCP at some point, so you know that, but. To see the industry kind of take down somebody who was so brilliant way before he should have been in such a tragic way because of how strong our drugs are now is just really hard to.
Could I ask you what you think it is that happens to child actors? A lot of them who
absolutely
go off the rails.
I think there are people like Mac Miller and. Anybody in the 27 Club, Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix. I think that level of talent, your soul, it's too intense for the confines of the human brain. Mm-hmm. And I may be getting a little too weird here, but I know you're in neuroscience. I know you appreciate that.
I relate to that.
I think that, yes, the shell of your brain isn't enough for the creativity. So what do? You do drugs, you drink, or you get addicted to sex or whatever.
There's a lot of self-medicating because it's like hard to handle the anxiety and the knowledge that you have, I think.
Yeah, and the perfectionist drive, and you're never satisfied, and you're too sensitive for the rest of the world because your brain you're just wired a little differently. But for the majority of kid actors, I just think they kind of...
the pressure must be so difficult.
The pressure is unreal.
And to not have, if you're 12, how do you have the coping tools of someone who's 24 who probably would still struggle with something like that?
Or if your parents are using you as a tool to further their own family,
It comes down a lot to just basically how you're born, what your genetics are, what you're predisposed to, and how your parents are, and how your friends are. Because I think I've seen it my entire life here in LA. When you have success and money, people just treat you differently. And they say yes to everything. Mm-hmm. And so there's a point in everybody that's found success's life where like you could be doing all kinds of crazy things that you wouldn't normally be able to do or want to do, or people would be like, dude, stop, what are you doing? But everybody around you wants to just party and be along with you. So you have all these yes men that, you're doing drugs or whatever, and they're down, and you just don't have anybody in your life that's telling you to stop.
Yeah.
Have you ever slipped into that? Has that ever happened to you, or have you felt like you kind of like kept your mental health throughout?
I have a lot of mental illness in my family. So I had my parents' mindset was, try whatever you want to try. If you want to try it, and we'll be here for you if you did too much of whatever. But also your uncle is schizophrenic, and that's what's going to happen to you. So my brother and I were like, well, we're good then.
Yeah, you had a real life example.
We don't need to.
Right.
And then he moved to LA, and there are drugs everywhere. And I just I'm not like, I love weed. I don't know what's appropriate to say.
You can say whatever the fuck you want to say here.
I'm a big pothead. But other than that, like a drink or two maybe. But like that's kind of what I've kept it to because it's just so easy to slip in. I mean, just everybody's doing stuff.
It's around. It's everywhere, especially in entertainment. It is just everywhere.
And it's scary because people don't know their own limits, and that's how things like
it's
Mac
a math
Miller
equation.
Happens. Yeah.
Yes, I heard.
And it is, these are chemicals, like they are like processed by people. You don't always, it's not regulated. You don't always know what's in it. And I think people, when you're on it, you're not going to know how much to take. Like,
sure.
I have friends that do drugs like quote unquote responsibly. And I trust them to be like careful about it. But most people do not, like, they're not doing it to like keep track of their bodies. They're doing it to get the fuck away from their reality.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what's, sorry.
If it's not regulated, you don't know what you're getting. So
Exactly.
You could be as responsible as you want, but
you're getting fentanyl off the street. You don't know what's in that.
If there was one transaction somewhere down the line where
and they mix it with, yes, exactly. But it's even scary because the thing now is obviously pharmaceuticals, right? And pills are just as bad as street drugs. They just have better PR.
Yeah.
Is what my thought process
Hillbilly
on that
heroin.
Better PR, better packaging,
thing.
And you can easily get a prescription for these things.
When you
too.
trust your doctor, your doctor's giving you this Adderall to wake up and this Vicodin and Xanax and Ambien to fall asleep, and before you know it, you're taking all of these things, and there's pressure in the industry to be on in front of these thousands of people at this fan event for 10 hours and then go to bed because you got to wake up and do it again. So you see why you get into that world.
Absolutely.
Why you need to level out, right?
And that. And then unfortunately, the way that our healthcare system is, like, if you only get to see a doctor for 10 minutes, you could easily get a prescription for Adderall if you know all the right things to say.
Sure. Google it.
Yeah. And that's the part that kind of drives me crazy, because I see this happening all the time where these kids get easy access to Adderall because they may have tried it once or twice at a party, and then they're all of a sudden they're diagnosed with ADHD.
There was the opposite experience in college where a lot of my friends were on Adderall, like they had ADHD, ADD, but a lot of them had to take this like 36 hours, some crazy long like test to see if they like had ADD. So it took them a long time in college to get it, like through the healthcare there. But it was like, it was just like a lot of like behavioral stuff. But I was just like, I feel like if you fail the test, you pass the test. Cause like you're not, you can't pay attention that long. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
That's fair.
36 hours.
Something, it was like a week long. They kept having to go back in, and I was like, but then they stocked caffeine pills in the convenience store. Fucking gone immediately.
Sure.
Like people, like if you're gonna sell that to a bunch of nerds, everybody's gonna stay up studying. Like
especially in college too. Like you're trying to do so much, and your little brain's trying to.
You don't feel it in your body until much later, like until you're like late 20s or early 30s or whatever. So like you think you can get away with a lot more.
Or you could be Jesse Spano and just flip out during an audition.
That's amazing. Did you ever see that? Did you ever see Saved by the Bell?
I know. I love her.
Yeah. She's like,
and I knew that she wasn't.
What song was she singing?
That's what I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. And then Zach's holding her. She was like, taking a pills.
Oh, you mean on the show? I thought you meant in real life. I was like, that's what happened.
Oh, she's very. I don't know. Now,
I haven't seen
now
her
we're
in a
starting
minute.
rumors. Maybe I don't know.
I think it was messed up that after that stripper movie, she didn't get other stuff. That stripper movie was fire.
And now it's a cult classic.
Yeah.
Oh, she's what was it called? The Vegas, the Showgirls.
Showgirls.
Yeah.
So I think she's doing fine. Isn't she like married to one of?
It's actually a good movie.
She's married. She's married to one of the Laurens, I think.
Lauren?
What?
Of the Ralph Lauren.
Then she's doing.
I think she's okay. I'm pretty sure.
She's doing great.
She's retired.
She's living the dream.
Let me look up Elizabeth Berkley.
Have you seen like people that you've worked with that like leave entertainment and then they disappear, and we think that they're like not doing great, but they are like totally like, do they go into normal lives?
Like, do they just become the housewives of Beverly Hills?
Yeah, well, some of my friends are gone from days to Beverly Hills Housewives.
Wait, really?
Lisa Rinna was on Days Forever.
You know Lisa Rinna? I love the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
And who's the oh my God, she played my enemy on Days. She stole my boyfriend's ex-girlfriend, the embryo that was inside of her uterus.
The embryo.
She was diabolical on the show,
Wait,
right?
hold on. How do you steal an embryo from inside?
It's like one of those Jurassic Park,
with your hands.
I love
one of those Jurassic Park like ice things. For
I love how soap operas just don't even care about science. They're like, we're gonna make
my mom. I think my mom watched like Passions, and there was like a monkey on that show.
Yeah,
right?
they had
there was
like
a
witches and
my mom loved that shit.
Yeah,
but I watched Charmed, so whatever.
Okay.
Charmed was great.
Well, Charmed was about witches, but Passions was a weird one because
like aliens and warlocks.
It had soap. It was like the soap opera vibe, but then it had like this whole like supernatural component to it,
which I think is kind of cool.
I only watched it because Jesse Metcalf was on it, and he's so freaking hot.
Yes, yeah.
So you work with. I was just gonna say you work with Lisa Rinna, but you also probably work with Krista Allen, who played her role after Lisa.
Krista B. Allen?
Yeah, she's a comic now.
I actually did. I just remembered the other girl's name too, and then I forgot it. Krista B. Allen came up with the idea
to catch
of
them up. So the same character was played by 3 actors.
Oh, for sure. I've taken over for Kirsten Storms when she was really sick. And I went in for a month, and came out.
Girl of the 21st century?
Yeah.
What? We have another girl of the 21st century over here.
Yay.
Yep, I just
zoom, make my heart go boom. Nobody else remembers
that.
I remember that.
All the Disney Channel movies.
Yeah.
I watched all of that shit.
They don't make those anymore.
Luck of the
Oh
Irish.
my goodness. You guys do have a similar look. I mean, they could probably do a facial recognition comedy show too.
We probably could.
Do you guys like often like when you're in casting rooms and whatnot?
Do you see each other a lot?
Do you see each other?
No, because she's been on GH for so long, and she's just cool. That she's doing good.
Yeah, she's got a solid storyline on there.
Does she? Okay, yeah.
So. Last time I watched like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Wait, what's GH?
General Hospital.
Oh, right. Okay.
Eileen Davidson.
Oh, she's your enemy.
She was the one that took the right. Okay, great.
The embryo.
Yes,
Eileen.
Yeah,
and she's so cool in real life.
She's
it seems
so
like,
cool.
laid back.
Wait,
she plays just like the
she's super
most
chill.
devious.
You were saying something about Krista Allen. You were on.
Oh yeah, she came up with a soap opera improv show.
Oh,
and
wait, let me look up Krista Allen right now.
it was called.
I asked her to be on the pod. If you see her, tell her to.
I will. I haven't talked to her. This was like 4 years ago, and she created it, did the first show, and then never showed up again. So
Krista,
we just kind of
text
stopped.
you.
Oh, I know her.
She's doing okay.
Yeah.
I've been on like so many shows with her.
Yeah, she's.
Oh my god, she's great.
Yeah,
She's really fun.
she's like super sexy too.
yes,
Like,
very.
She actually did an episode of my last podcast, which we just never ended up releasing. So I was like, give her this one. She's probably like, I'm good.
yes.
Yours will be out next week or
yeah, something.
Tuesday. Yeah,
It'll be out soon.
Doesn't matter.
I don't
when we're
know.
recording.
We're very tired from this.
It's so hard being pretty. So how do you do that? I'm sure you got to do like press and PR and do photo shoots and stuff. We had one weekend of doing photo shoots and I'm exhausted.
I'm ready to never be famous.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I am.
How do you
in the
deal
morning
with
when you're
this?
getting your makeup done.
I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. When I was a kid, I watched one episode of like VH1 behind the scenes plastic surgery stuff. Before that, I was like, I want to be a rock star. I want to be a pop star, like whatever. And then I was like, I want to do science. Like after that, I was like, fuck this.
I love that though. I think that's so cool.
you don't want to do the surgery.
But
I don't.
You're in hair and makeup every day,
Yeah, how
right?
do you handle it?
And is it annoying that you have to be there like 2-3 hours ahead of the dudes to like get into character and all of that?
It sucks that it doesn't suck. I'm just happy to be on any set.
Right.
So I'll just say that first.
Yeah.
But yes, when you have to get there like 2 hours early for them to paint and fix everything, and the guy's like rolls in, gets some powder, and he dips out.
Oh
You're
my
just
God.
like,
It is so frustrating.
with somebody else doing it, it's not. It's not that big. You get used to it, and I almost never wear makeup when I'm not.
Yeah,
because I'm a dude. So you know.
Do you feel self-conscious like being in the spotlight and stuff, or?
I am very shy, which is weird.
Really?
So like I have horrible like stage fright. So like fan events, if I'm talking to people or if I'm like I sang on True Blood and I have no problem. If the camera's on, I can sing no problem. If I have a like singing audition or like have to sing in front of people, I freak out. So I don't.
What? You were so good at improv. You like got right in there. Like she was always like the supportive, like would jump in right away.
That doesn't acting, I guess, isn't as scary.
I get that.
Okay.
I get where she's coming from. I've met a lot of actors who are that way, where doing anything live
It's
really
just different.
it's like a different mindset. But if you put them on camera, they're perfect.
Yes.
It's just night and day from what I've
Molly,
seen.
have you done theater acting, or do you have a background in theater acting?
Oh, I grew up doing musical theater.
Okay.
And theater, my whole since I was like 3.
Yeah,
I feel like Daniel Day-Lewis would be a real pill off stage, just like hanging out. You know, like I feel like he wouldn't be so good at live.
Well, I know he's a method actor.
Yeah.
Which, listen, get it how you get it.
Depending on what role he's
Get it how you
preparing
get
for.
it. Yes.
Oh my God.
But I just also think that you gotta clock out. Like
Yeah.
acting is just like being a lawyer. Like when you're not in the office, chill. And if you're, I mean, you can't deny the amazing work that he puts out, but like being his co-star and having him treat you like shit because he can't differentiate it, that would be rough for me. I don't know.
I'd be like, oh, Daniel.
Yeah.
Oh, he's doing his bit
DDL,
again.
you crazy
He's doing his bit for the next 9 months.
Yeah.
I would do it back to him. I would be like,
and that's the problem with
you
LA,
have a
though.
milkshake.
I think is just like circling back to what you brought up in the beginning is everyone gets enabled when they reach a certain level of success.
Sure.
Yeah.
because no one wants to be the naysayer.
Can I say it? Someone needs to tell Dave Chappelle to stop smoking cigarettes. Like somebody needs to tell him.
Dude, I mean
that's his business.
Who's going to tell him?
Yeah.
I would tell.
I dare you.
I would tell him.
I tell you too.
I'm not going to go up and interrupt his show. He smokes on stage so that people in places where you aren't normally allowed to smoke inside.
And they let him?
Well, yeah, they give him cigarettes.
I mean, I saw his stand-up, obviously, so I saw him do that. I didn't know if that was
his
like
voice
He's a
his
chain
voice
smoker.
has just changed so much since
because of it.
Yeah, he's
you
definitely
can
a chain
hear
smoker.
it. And I'm like, no, we can't lose you. We love you.
I mean, the thing is, look, he's an adult. He knows that cigarettes are bad for you.
Sure.
So it's just like you're just giving him an unsolicited opinion. He's like, I know this. Like,
I know.
He's not an idiot.
Also,
he's like,
I just want people to stop giving him.
Have you ever seen him in an argument? You can win an argument against Dave Chappelle.
He's too sweet.
Yeah,
he's honestly too sweet.
Oh, and that
he'll just be very nice to you.
Really?
Yeah.
Or he'll just be like, okay, if I die, I die.
Yeah.
And then he'll just make like some sort of quip about it.
Yeah,
I mean, he has kids and stuff. I'm sure everybody in his family has tried to get him to quit.
Did he like do drugs and stuff? Like drank a lot? Usually people that smoke a lot nowadays when they know how bad it is because they're trying to
It's a replacement.
do the other things.
I mean, he drinks and just smokes cigarettes. That's all I know.
give him a lollipop.
Yeah. Dave Chappelle lollipops. Ooh, we should market that.
Yeah.
What else?
Cigarette replacements.
I feel like, okay, after your Days of Our Lives, like how did your, like you said you kind of got like a little break with the Teen Wolf stuff. Like how did that feel? Like what were you going through?
My cocky 22-year-old ass thought I was just going to go straight from Days to something else. And so when that didn't happen, and I would book like guest stars and Lifetime movies and stuff, but nothing that was going to pay my mortgage that I now had. So my struggle was after Days in between pretty much up until maybe not Queen, but like CSI Cyber. Up until then, it was just a struggle of like.
So how long of a span was this?
Like 4 or 5 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So what were you doing to afford the mortgage and stuff? Did you start Airbnb your place?
No. I had saved so much money too, so I had a lot of leeway, and I made enough money to stay afloat with that.
You were smart with your money when you were making it.
But you just lose your mind, and that's why people do drugs too. Because you're so bored. Like you can either be doing a million, like flying from. There was a point last year where I was going back and forth from Dallas and Salt Lake City and Atlanta because I was doing Queen relationship status in this movie.
It's so jarring. Like it's just you go from being like suddenly so busy to just suddenly
nothing at all.
It helps doing stand up. I did stand up before because I can always get up. That's what I love about stand up.
Right, and you can set up your stuff, right? So you can make sure you're busy whenever you want.
And you could write a joke that morning and do it that evening. And especially in a place like LA.
Yeah.
But I feel like stand up is similar in the pattern in that you can go from feeling amazing to feeling like shit. Like it's these extremes,
right?
Like patterns of extremes.
100%.
But also those gigs that pay you in stand up, it comes few and far in between. Like if you're not like popping on TV at that moment, you know, you may have to do road gigs or other ways to.
Are you saying that premium blend MTV credit's not going to get someone booked? Is that what you're?
I mean, I'll take the credit if they're giving those out. I mean,
I don't think anyone got those after the 90s.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if you haven't been on TV since Singled Out, it may not be working in your favor. You know.
Right.
So
I know one of my buddies was struggling, and then he did Wild 'N Out, and now he's just everybody wants him.
Oh, I mean, I love the entire cast on Wild 'N Out. They're all really funny dudes.
The whole show is amazing.
What was the Daisy girl's name on there?
Russica
was like, I saw it when I was a kid. I watched that, and like to see an Indian chick up there, I was like, damn, like that was so cool.
Absolutely,
to watch her up there. That was such a fun show.
I think it's great. I think it's so creative. Anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you gonna continue doing like improv and like all these things on the side?
Fuck yeah.
Are you gonna join a practice group?
I want to.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk after.
Yeah. Let me know. We know what's up. Because I want to do 4 too, but all of the classes are at night, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do nighttime improv.
Yeah.
My brain shuts down around 7. That's
really?
Time, so
do you get it's weed time? Are you a morning person?
Yeah. As far as
she's thinking about it. She's thinking about it though.
I've become a night person. When you're not working, you're a night person.
It's like, what's your body acclimated to?
Exactly.
You know?
So when you're filming and you got to get up at 4 a.m. to be on set, then you're kind of a morning person. And then Or if it's night shoots, though, I guess then you're. It's all. I don't know. I don't have a thing. Yeah.
She just adjusts to whatever she needs to be productive for. I get that.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing that's ever happened on set that wasn't planned?
It's a trick question.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to.
I can tell you something that happened. Maybe that'll spur some inspiration. So the last thing I shot, there was there was a homeless dude outside the set, and there was security, of course. But then he kept trying to get in, and he started fighting the security. And then we all start hearing like a scuffle, and then police start coming. And then we see him throw something. Either was I think he threw a bottle first, and then he threw a backpack over. So then, you had to move part of the set or whatever, because
this poor man.
There's a lot of people working.
Oh no!
So then finally, you got subdued. The police just had him lying on the ground. They left, or no, the guy left. They left, and the guy came back.
Oh my god!
He wanted more. And
he was just trying to get a credit. I understand, man. That was me. I was there.
And that little boy was
and that little boy was me. Do you know how many stories end that way? And in the end, that little boy was me.
You said something earlier today, and I thought it would have been so funny if you said if you just changed it to a boy, but it didn't work out. So I'm really glad that we had this moment again.
Yeah, we brought it back. Call back to earlier today when none of you were here.
Life goes full circle.
Do you have any crazy stories, or even things that people asked of you that you didn't feel comfortable doing?
Oh well, sure. The movie that I just did.
Did you get Harvey Weinstein? Tell us right here on the Facial Recognition Comedy Podcast.
I never met him, which it sounds like was a good thing.
Yeah, I think you lucked out.
Every set I've ever been on, though, I was talking to a couple people about it. I don't think there's a set that I've been on where somebody didn't say something sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think that's just kind of how you could ask any woman in the business world in New York City and they'd say the same thing. So ours is particularly bad because you add ego and money and power and fame. But other than that, it's
and
the same thing.
And the whole expectation of how a woman should look and behave.
Absolutely. What are you going to do for me? So I'll put you on there.
Yeah.
And desperation, I think, is the biggest thing here is that you have somebody like that or Les Moonves who's I'm a piece of shit, but I'll put you in a movie if you touch my penis.
Yeah.
So a lot of people would do that, I guess, which is heartbreaking for a lot of reasons.
And it wasn't people knew this stuff and no one even talked about it until the Me Too movement.
That's what
drives me nuts.
And Larry Nassar, was it Michigan State? I don't want to get this wrong. No, Larry Nassar was the U.S. women's gymnastics, the doctor.
Oh, the doctor, right.
But he also was the doctor at Michigan State, I believe. And a girl, one of the, I don't know what sport she was playing, but she's coming out now saying that he drugged her and raped her and she got pregnant and had a miscarriage.
Oh, God.
And the house mother knew it. She knew all of it.
Yes, you're right. It was the USA... It was a gymnast.
It was a gymnast
from the USA team.
And not only did people know it, women knew it.
Yeah.
And still.
Because there was not really much you could do. There was no avenues to you really put yourself in the crosshairs when you come out against a guy, because the burden's on you.
But also the mindset is that this is what happens to us, just deal with it.
Yes.
There's I always feel bad if you don't want a better life for other people, what kind of mentality is that? I went through trauma, so you have to too. That's so it's so fucked.
It's awful.
I think the other thing is no one wants to be part of the disruption.
Yeah.
No one wants to be associated with the people who are disrupting the status quo.
Yeah.
Because those people are always the one that have to deal with the crossfire. Whether they get through it or not, I mean, that's here or there. But no one wants to be associated with the first in line. Because people aren't naturally leaders, right? People will follow once they feel like it's safe to be a follower of this movement.
Once someone else comes out about someone, then I think it gives people the courage. Yeah. I had, the incident I had at the store, at the comedy store with a guy where I felt violated, and I immediately talked to a lot of people who worked there, and there was no recourse at the time. It was just sort of
Was this an employee?
No. Well, I mean,
it's people who, if you're a stand-up around the store, then you people who go and hang out. It's not
okay. So, but this guy was known.
This guy, yeah.
I mean, he was in the scene. In the scene. He's a comic.
Right.
But then after Me Too came out, a friend of mine, exposed something that he did that was horrific. And so many women, like I shared that and I shared my own because I was like, I was scared to, because every time I had brought it to someone, it was dismissed. Up until that very point, it was completely dismissed.
And why did it take? I just have so many questions about why it took this for people to take women seriously.
Because I think that's when it was an overwhelming number of women came forward.
Yeah. Also, people don't care if it's not rape. So like with the Harvey Weinstein thing, like, and you know, Cosby and all of this other stuff, they were like, oh yeah, those guys are bad because it's rape. And like anything up to that point, they're like, it's just like, don't be a pussy.
Just being a guy. Yeah. This is what they do.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know. What do you like? Have there been people that you've had to like stand up to and stuff? Has there been contention like that?
I've never, thank goodness, I've never been in a position where I've never been in that position. And I'm also not going to put myself in that position. So if I feel like that position is getting closer, I'm going to dip. But I did have an executive producer that was just a terrible person. And you find yourself doing stuff for them still because they're in charge.
Yeah.
Even though you're a feminist, even though you're strong, even though your co-star hates him too and will go to bat for you, and he's a white male, so like maybe he gets more points or whatever, but you still find yourself doing stuff because it's also like, if I say something, then this whole production is going to go down and it's going to be a thing. And I just want to make this movie because I love this role. And I know all the people that are working for this film, the grips, the sound, the lighting, hair, makeup, they're all going to lose their job if I say something and this gets shut down.
Big repercussions.
I hate when women they're forced to act as a shield to protect other people. And like nobody will ever find out.
No.
Like nobody ever fucking knows like what women have put themselves through to like save other people.
But isn't that always the case though? It's always the mom, it's always the woman that like takes the most stones to make sure the family and the men are okay. Like it's up to us. But like,
why are
that's
men
also
so precious?
badass.
What's so precious about men?
I don't know, 'cause we don't need them.
Paul, or sound engineer. No offense. He's wonderful.
No. We're back to man hating. I like this.
Listen, Paul, we appreciate you, but we could replace you at any point with a woman.
We just need your semen. Yeah. And we're good.
We don't even need that, dude. We're getting Jurassic Park style soon, right? We're all going to be a bunch of old lady dinosaurs just tearing the place apart. Left. And where did he? Hello, can you hear us?
But like, there's this. I took a sociology class like once in like 10th grade.
So she's an expert.
Yeah.
So she knows.
So I'm going to say this, that like he would say something like, the reason men or women sort of were under the thumb of men is because we historically have had the burden of child rearing and carrying the baby. Mm-hmm. So that makes us more vulnerable. I don't know if, I don't know enough to.
Well, if you look at ancient civilizations, the Mayans, the Egyptians, that was all matriarchy. Women ran the show and everything was peaceful and calm. Mm-hmm. And then these guys kind of came up and they started talking about, they said, okay, there's this hell and you can now pay your way into heaven. You don't need to be good on earth if you buy these dolls, these little dolls. And this was in Egypt. I don't know what the Mayans did, but if you buy these dolls, you can buy your way into heaven. That started becoming a thing. So people used to be good to go to heaven, and now they don't have to. They can kind of do whatever they want. And that kind of shifted into this money patriarchy world. Yeah. And now we're where we're at.
Mm. Yeah. So I'll ask it again. What's so precious about men?
Yeah.
No offense, Paul.
I think just their semen. I think that's it.
I think probably,
that's it.
But I mean, we don't even need that many men for that.
Yeah, we're overpopulated.
Just a few good ones.
So.
yeah, a few good men.
Just a few good men.
Speaking of that, have you dated anyone recently? Have you tried to be in a relationship in LA?
Yeah. Oh my God, too many times.
Too many attempts. Is that what it is?
Yeah. I was in a relationship with my co-star for a long time on days, and it was just real rough. And we broke up. And the writers put us together, our characters together on the show.
On purpose?
Like
Did they know? Did they know?
They knew. We were so open about it. We did interviews.
That's so annoying.
Do you think they did it to,
I don't know. I think
to
they...
poke?
I don't
Did you ever
think
get to
so.
like slap him after in the show? And then, yeah, you did?
I did get it. We'd have to do all kinds of stuff. And I love him to this day. We're friends and we're good. And it was just like your first love or whatever. But this industry is like, don't dip your pen in the company ink. I keep forgetting that. So Someday I'll get it.
It's hard because you're only like, if you're working, you're only working.
That's all you're around. Yeah.
And then you're just like, I don't want to like, it's hard to take risks, I think, after you've had like bad experiences. So you're just like, you're like, I don't want to like date, but then it just builds up.
Well,
and then you're only like around people you work with.
Yes, and you're on set and you're alone with these hot, charismatic guys that are all fucked up.
This is true. Yeah. I would date a soap opera star. I don't know if they would date me.
Yo, when you finally
hook us up with soap opera stars.
Oh my God.
Well, we're not going to hook you up with comics because we like you too much. Yeah, hook us up with soap opera. I just want, he could be dumb.
You barely deserve this.
I was saying, dumb people fuck good. So like, just give me one of those dumb actors.
Yeah, great. Sure.
Yeah, the ones that are just like stand there shirtless.
Just pretty, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a lot of them.
It's just hard though, because it's like you're around everyone you work with, and you're like, oh, I shouldn't. But then what if you have chemistry with someone?
And
like,
you usually do.
That.
That's why they booked you and this guy, because you have chemistry.
You passed a chemistry
test. You literally passed a test based on your chemistry.
It was a setup. It was an inside job.
For all soap opera leads that you go in and read for, is there always a chemistry test with whoever they're writing the storyline?
In Passions, was there a chemistry test with the monkey?
Yeah. A lot of questions about Passions.
Maybe.
I know. That's the only one I know because of my mom.
I'll tell you this: that monkey was vetted.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Half the Passions people were on days.
Oh wow.
So yeah, Galen and Eric and Lindsay and a lot of the time you have to do chemistry reads.
Yeah.
But it's even worse when you're like on set doing a movie on location.
Oh.
Because then it's like The Bachelor, because it's like nobody,
That's
you only
all
know
you
each
have.
other, and you're at this fancy ass hotel.
It's like Olympic Village. Olympic Village.
That's how Brad and
resist?
Angelina
sounds
happened.
amazing. That's how
Right?
all the affairs happen.
That's how all the affairs happen.
And
You're
it's not
stuck
the
in a
on-set
location.
stuff. Like
Yeah.
if they have sex scenes, everyone thinks like that's what does it. But no, sex scenes suck. They're weird.
They're very technical.
They're uncomfortable. There's 50 dudes like,
Yeah.
you ready to watch this? Like it sucks.
Yeah.
It's always like once you wrap and you're a little drunk at like 2 a.m. at the hotel. That's when like the affairs happen.
Yeah, everyone's just trying to cope at that point. They're like,
Yeah, because you've been working, I don't know, on Queen, we'd film till like 4 or 5 in the morning and just go straight, like, you're all messed up and you're
talking about Queen of the South.
Yes, I'm sorry, Queen of the South.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah.
Well, just real quick question. I know soap operas move really quickly. The pace is really quick. How many pages do you have to memorize a day when you did soap operas?
It's funny. I took over for Kirsten this year for 2 episodes. She was really, really sick. So they called me at like 9:00 at night on a Tuesday, and they were like, "Can Molly come in? We have 3 episodes. Kirsten can't do it. We need her. It's like the pivotal point of her storyline. Molly, will she come in and do these scenes?" I was like, "Sure, I'll make a little money. I love them over there. Let's do it." They come over at 10 at night, drop the scripts off, and it's like 75 pages of these monologues of me. I guess I gave birth to a kid, and my husband was shot and killed, and his twin brother is confronting me in a nightmare and a dream in the hospital bed. Like, I had to memorize by 7 a.m. the next day.
And relate and have this.
Trying to figure out how to make sure the audience buys the fact that I have no idea what I'm saying.
I'm sure you pulled it off.
Yeah, we worked it out, and it was great. We were done by noon, which just, soap operas are like machines though. So we'd do like 8 or 9 episodes in 5 days.
And
wow.
Memorizing is like a muscle anyway. So when you're doing it that much,
by the time you're done with, after my first year on days, you could hand me that and I would look at it and then I'd be able to tell you everything that's on
wild.
It. And it wouldn't be word perfect at all, but I could tell you everything.
So circling back to Queen of the South that you brought up, how does it compare? Like, what's the pacing of a show like that versus a soap opera?
And also, did you have to audition for this? Like, are you at the level now where like you're like, we just want her to come in and
it depends on a show like Queen of the South. Yes, I did have to audition, but that casting family knows me and loves me, so I didn't have to do a bunch of auditions. I just did one.
They were already fans,
and they were already fans, which was wonderful. I love them so much. They've kept me employed, thank God. But I remember a year and a half into Days, I booked a role in True Blood, and Days was all I had known, and we'd be out by 5 p.m. every day. So it's not only are you doing a lot, but it's fast and you're done by 5. And I got on the True Blood set, and they were like, "Okay, that's great. We're gonna do another take, and then another take." And I was like, "Am I doing something wrong?" And they're like, "No, this is how it works. What? I thought you have experience." I was like, "Oh, I do a soap," and they're like, "Oh, that's not the same thing. That's not the same thing at all."
Soap, you just move on.
Yes. So you'll do like 6 or 7 or maybe 8 pages a day.
It's really
on a primetime show.
Slow
wow.
pace.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you're still working long hours. Longer, right?
So much longer.
For prime time?
So much longer. Days was great because it was like a 9 to 5. Like you get in at 9, you're done by 5.
I had a 3-liner on a show. I was there for 3 days.
Yeah.
All day.
Yes. Hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the rule.
And the second, like, you're waiting forever, the second, like, you start doing something, you're like, okay, I'm going to be productive. That's when they're like, hurry, get
100%.
over here.
100%. You're like, all right, I'm going to put the Candy Crush down now and do my taxes, and they're calling me. Great. And then you film for like 10 minutes, and you're done. And you don't even know. Yeah, and then you go home.
Who you are
your
to the
small
world.
1-bedroom apartment. Call your mom and dad. Tell them it went okay. Maybe you'll
I was on a movie today.
Yeah.
I did it. It was a long day's hard work.
Yeah.
I'm sitting around waiting to be called up.
Yep. Now I'm sitting at my apartment by myself.
But you know what? Like, okay, when I was a kid, I didn't understand why actors, like, would, you'd read about what they get paid for this and that, this many hours of work. But, like, that could literally be their paycheck for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
100%.
So it's just like, okay, they earned that.
100%.
Because actors are working for free all the time. You're having to audition like you're working for the show.
Yes.
You're having to get paid like pilots. How was your pilot season?
It was good.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful. But I was also doing Queen, so it was kind of...
You had a job.
I was not too stressed, yes. But it's unfortunate because once Queen's done, then you miss pilot season. So, like,
so for our listeners, pilot season is basically when all the actors, also all the pilots start filming, or they're starting to cast for the new TV series that they're going to pitch that year that you may see on TV soon if they get picked up. So pilot season is basically a bunch of actors going out for these roles that may become, big TV.
But like that's the sad thing.
If they get picked up, they might be like the next, big thing on network.
You just don't know. Could be, but my girlfriend has booked and shot a pilot for the last 4 years. Every single year she books a pilot and they shoot it and it doesn't get picked up.
Yeah.
And for 4 years she's doing guest spots and stuff. She's super fucking talented, so she's gonna be fine. But she doesn't know that yet. She just keeps booking these shows and shooting the pilot. And that she did one with Sterling K. Brown that got axed.
What? Well, it's like she gets so close,
yes.
and I think that's what's tough. Is like, it.
Even if you book a pilot, you still
can still get fired.
Yes,
you can fired the table read.
The chick that Sex and the City, Kim Cattrall.
Oh yeah, she was
not the main. Yeah, that was not who they chose. They shot the pilot with another woman.
Yeah. They chose. I'm like getting my shows mixed up now, but didn't they choose Edie from Desperate Housewives?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe
or something. They were always like pegged like back to back. They were part of, they had the facial recognition thing going on where they were always in the same castings all the time.
Well, the
and
cream
like
rises.
replaceable for each other.
She did really well.
She's doing fine too.
They both did well. They're fine.
Yeah.
But it's like I've heard of people like you go to upfronts, you take your pilot to upfronts, and like
What's
a sponsor.
What's an upfront?
It's like what? Can you explain that? Because I haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So
I'm gonna get to upfronts next. Knock on wood.
Yes, ma'am. So so they do pilot auditions. Everybody books the pilot. They shoot the pilot. All the pilots that are in contention to actually be chosen go to New York City, and it's basically like a big sales pitch for all the advertisement people. So like, here's my show, here's all the cast, we're gonna do a bunch of parties, a bunch of stuff, and we're gonna hopefully get enough publicity that we'll be able to afford advertisements for our show, and like we're trying to pitch for our show over these shows. And
so based on that, I know people who have gotten to upfronts and have gotten fired because a sponsor, an advertiser was like,
didn't like
their
them.
place. So you,
wow,
yeah.
Man, I really need to work on being likable.
Well, it's just
Dear
like,
Nike, we will kneel for whatever you need.
you just don't know. That's the thing is you just don't know when you'll pop off.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing is why they say it's 10 years because like if you're good, you'll eventually get recognized if you don't give up.
If you don't give up.
Or you'll die
10,
first, but
20, 30,
matter.
50 years from now. Someday you will get recognition.
Yes.
You'll come out like Morgan Freeman. You'll be old forever.
His first acting job was until he was like 40-something.
Yeah,
50-something,
super old. Tyler Perry had 2 dimes in his pocket when he was 29. He was living in his car. He was 29. He's got an island off the coast of Florida.
Well,
That's
Harrison
unreal.
Ford, wasn't it Harrison Ford? Like before Indiana Jones, he was just like, wasn't he a carpenter or something?
I'm sure
Like he was just using his like trade skill.
So my problem with this though is that everybody always says these things about all these different people, but then there's like no like Joe over there was also trying to work on it for like 20 years and lived out of his car. And now he just works at McDonald's. Like,
there's none of that because you just assume.
You're just like, I'm gonna be Harrison Ford. Yes. I'm gonna be fucking Morgan. But you have to have that mentality.
You have to have a level of, I don't want to call it delusion, but you have to.
That's you have to be delusional, absolutely, to come make it out here in a place where statistically you're not gonna make it. You gotta be a little off.
That's the thing with stand up is that like you'll watch somebody go up and you'll be like, man, like you'll be both inspired but also be like, fuck it, I could do it better. And, and that arrogance is like what gets you through all the bombs.
Dude,
and everything.
Kobe.
I don't like. It's interesting because I've found that arrogance actually is destructive for me. Like I became a better comic personally, and everyone's process is different personality. But when I sort of threw the ego away, because it was just not serving me. Like it was.
I do so much.
Different.
I'm so productive out of spite. Like the negative emotions keep me going.
Yep.
I'm like, fuck this guy. I'm gonna be funnier than him. I apply to like 10 festivals or whatever, and then I like I do so many things out of just like getting mad about myself or other people. But then you channel it into something productive.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's sustainable.
I don't know. We'll see.
He's calling you out, Pallavi.
Well, no, because I do that
I've been mad my whole life. I've been a bitch my whole life. 29 years.
I was about to say, she's young. You have more than 2 pennies.
I have more.
So you're doing pretty well.
I'm running out of. I shouldn't have applied to so many festivals.
Oh my goodness.
She has a nickel.
You don't have to go to every festival you get into.
Because I got to because it's comedy and I got to do all the things in comedy. That's my mentality. I'm like, I got to do it all.
Well, it's good if you can put. That's the thing is if you can pull it off, the more you put in, the more you get.
Absolutely.
Like it shows.
Absolutely.
So it's not a bad thing. It's just don't burn out. We don't want you to die. I mean, like everyone's going to die.
I'm saying it right here, right now. I'm the next Mac Miller.
Oh my God.
I'm kidding. I love him so much. I was so sad.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
That one was a blow.
This is going to be the thing that they play.
right.
I hopefully when I'm like 80.
Oh, no. What did you say? He was young or that was a blow?
Oh, I said that was the Mac Miller thing.
It was
so sad. It was surprising and shocking for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Not from his music because he did talk about it a lot. It was just like,
when I went back and listened to a lot, that whole Faces mixtape, he's literally saying like, I do enough drugs to go out the way Philip Seymour Hoffman did. Like his line, like you go back and listen and you're like, oh my God, this kid was really, it was really bad.
But it's not real until it's real. Like I've lost a lot of friends to like suicide and stuff, and that like it's never the way you think it's gonna happen, or like it's just always surprising, you know, even if it can be like, you know, people you don't think of or people that you knew were struggling, but when it happens, it takes a lot from you. It hits you really hard.
When you're talking about it, that's a good sign.
Yeah, and when you're talking about it, so that's why if he's like expressing himself and talking about it, you're like, oh, he has these issues, but he has control over it.
He's working on it.
Like he's figuring it out. If you talk about it, it's not so scary. But sometimes you talk about it and it still happens.
Absolutely, what made him so monumental too is that he had no fear discussing it, and I think this new generation is down for that cause.
Yeah,
but from like us up. Nobody wanted to talk about mental illness in any form, and addiction is just as bad as depression,
because they're like so closely associated with your personality, and so people are like, well, is he a dick or is it like an addiction? Like what part of it is there, and like who are you if you're not your addiction? You know what I mean? Like
absolutely, and that's
you have to like redefine
step, right?
your identity.
That's the third. I listened to this podcast, Shane Powers, who is really close with Mac, and he was saying the hardest part for him to understand right now is that Mac so clearly didn't want to die. This wasn't a depression overdose. This was a complete accident. Because
the drugs were really strong.
It's too strong now. You take it's just too strong. But that it's so hard because he was kind of in a place in his life where he was doing okay.
He was in recovery, from what I read.
He was definitely
trying to be sober.
He's been
making waves,
doing up and down forever. But he also started taking drugs when he started smoking weed when he was 10. So if you start smoking weed at 10 and drugs at 15, like your brain forms
a dependency
around that. It's not going to end well for you, unfortunately. But he was in a better place. I feel like just as far as his music, and you can hear if you listen to his album, is
so good.
Very painful, but it's beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
And he was with who's it? who's the
Ariana Grande?
No, the
she said something about him too.
God,
though.
talk about heartbreaking too. Like, is that not every girl's biggest nightmare, to be in love with somebody and it's so toxic and have them either commit suicide or overdose? Like, that's your worst nightmare.
I mean, she had long been moved on. She's like engaged to Pete Davidson.
But it's still
of course. Like,
it was a month later. Yeah, they broke. And she'd probably, I mean, I don't know what kind of toxic relationships y'all have been in, but I've been in some similar to that. And you start disconnecting way before you actually end it.
Oh, of course.
But you also feel responsible for not helping this person get clean or get through their depression or whatever it is. And
it's really hard to protect yourself and protect people you care about at the same time.
Yes. And when she clapped back at that fan that was like, I can't believe Mac got a DUI and it's your fault. He wrote this album for you. And she's like, wait a minute. It's not my, once again, going back to the women taking care of the men. Yeah. It's not my responsibility to try and save him. It's his.
Exactly. And it's like the woman's responsibility. You know what? It's just like, when can we take care of our actual responsibility, which is taking care of ourselves, you know? It's like we sacrifice ourselves, neglect this person just to deal with
and how many of us do that?
I think also there are a lot of women that like do struggle with addiction, do struggle with mental health issues, and the way they're portrayed is totally different. Like, I feel like with Mac, rightfully so, like he was portrayed as this brilliant, like caring tortured person who was this person and then had these demons. But I think, you know, like, I mean, fucking Courtney Love, like,
oh my God, yeah, she's
like
the devil, right?
Amanda Bynes, like they all have like issues.
Everyone thinks that they're crazy.
They're
and
messy.
Remember, even when Britney was going through a rough time in 2007, everyone's like, oh, she's gone off the deep end. She's a crazy bitch. And
now, they were more famous than Mac's famous now because he died. But if we go back 2 weeks ago, how many people really know Mac?
I think he was about to pop off. Because I was seeing him on billboards everywhere. He was like appearing more and more on Spotify and stuff. And I think he was on his way.
Yes, and that's what makes it so much.
It is very heartbreaking.
Yes, and John Mayer said this beautiful thing about how Mac already had success and he was constantly trying to better himself.
Yeah.
And for John Mayer to say that, who is like the epitome of that, is such a compliment for somebody that didn't even really know him. But you're right, this was his go to be on, but before that, people didn't really. So when Britney cracks, we all see it.
Yeah.
But Mac didn't, and he said when he got the DUI, this was a good thing for me for a reality check, because I've gone 10 years without any repercussions.
I think so. For me, like, I knew of him and I knew some of his songs and like I knew people that really were into him. But yeah, with his death, like I went back and I like listened to like his albums and everything, and I was just like, fuck, like I've been missing this the whole time. Like, I mean, I listened to some of it before, but it's something, because I've had all these friends die young. It's like when there's a celebrity, when it's a young person, when it's like tragic like that, there's like some, like it resonates with me. So that because of that, I just been like swimming in like his music the last like week or whatever. And it is, you do see like the evolution through his albums. Like,
oh my God,
crazy.
The difference between his mixtape Kids
and swimming, like,
and
it's insane.
Kids to Blue Slide Park and Best Day Ever, that like high school smoke weed fratty whatever, and then moved over into watching movies with the sound off and Faces and drugs. Like where he went with his music was so incredible.
Yeah, and he wasn't afraid to like take risks.
Absolutely fearless.
What got you into Mac Miller?
My brother.
Your brother? My
brother, is a huge rap. He got into the music industry for a little bit, and it was just he wants to be a sports broadcaster, and he's amazing at it. So
is he younger?
20 months younger.
Oh, wow.
Is that your only sibling, or do you have?
Yeah, he just moved to Alabama for a little bit, for about 8 months. I just helped him go down there. Alabama, holy shit, that is a place.
A different country.
I don't know if y'all been there, but it is.
Birmingham once.
That's where he's staying, in Birmingham. Yeah, it's
I'm glad to be back in LA.
I am, but you know what? Just a non sequitur really quick. My brother and I drove through Bessemer, which is just one of that's where Bo Jackson and James Winston are from, but like really, really painfully poor. Like the roofs are plastic with tape around them.
What?
And you go down there and you kind of see, not the like specific percent of Trump voters that are like just bad, evil, because there's evil Democrats too. There's evil in everything. But you go down there and it's abundantly clear why they may have voted for Trump, because Trump said he was different. And what other hope do you have? These people have absolutely nothing.
Well, they were taken advantage of by someone who does not care about them.
They're getting played hard. But
they're getting played by both sides, or really neglected.
They're being used and neglected.
Used and neglected, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that there's like the flyover states. I think it's very like kind of condescending to say that, you know, because there's like, because I mean, there's, if you drive through the US, like do a road trip, because there's so much more than like what you're used to if you live on the coast. Like
go to Fresno, California, and you'll be in like middle America. I mean, we have that in every state. We just kind of didn't really talk about it.
I go do shows in Palmdale, and I feel like I'm in a different world. And they look at me like, who is this person?
Yeah, I think with stand up, like we've been in front of audiences, like we're the first like brown people.
Sure.
Yeah.
What's that like?
It's a lot of fun.
It's a real hit or miss. It's a real hit or miss. Yeah. My first show that I ever got paid $5 for was in
$5.
$5 whole.
There we go.
Yeah, I was in Simi Valley, and it was like just all white people, and like two guys went up and they did like whatever. It wasn't the best punchlines. No punchlines. And then I went up and they liked me. They really liked me. Then my friend went up and started talking shit about Trump, and they hated him. And then I was like, oh, they got all my race jokes like shallow level. Yeah. They didn't get what I meant really. Oh, they laughed at the wrong part, but they liked like my personality or whatever. And I was just, after that, I was just like, man, you got to be real careful about how you phrase things and how you connect with the audience. But I kept that money. So
as you should have.
I hope you kept that $5.
I earned that $5.
As a comic, it is so important to like go to Middle America.
Yeah,
absolutely. And do those shows, because the audiences are so different on the coast. So different. This is the one, develop that muscle. Then it's
the one thing I'm like that stand up I think is so different from like improv and acting and all these things is that you cannot be in a bubble in stand up. Like the people you interact with, the other stand up comedians have come from just like the craziest, most different lifestyle, like backgrounds, whatever, and the people you perform in front of, if you like are active and you do go everywhere, it's just like exposure that you've never had before. Absolutely. And it's just like very like visceral like connections to people, and like, you know, one-on-one or one-on-many with like the audience interaction, and it's real reaction.
And it's vulnerable. It's just you guys up. I think stand-ups are some of the most badass performers out there, because like it's you and the shit that you wrote.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's also
it's
instant validation, right? Like, you know, right away, like if it's going well, you know, like that's one of the most amazing feelings. But if it's going bad, you
also know.
There is no one else to blame this on but yourself. Like, you can try to blame the crowd, but you're being paid to entertain that crowd. So I think that's why it's so
earn that $5.
At its best.
At its best. Yeah.
And for gas money.
That's why they say it's part of the progression, right? Like doing all that road work. Like, you have to be good on the coast, but then you also have to be good in Kansas and you have to be good.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's weird because you have to be like likable, but at the same time be like, fuck you, this is what I think. You know what I mean? Like, it's this weird like balance of like trying to convince people to like stay on your side through your thought, you know? But
yeah. Or you could be beautiful and really talented on their favorite soap and they'll love you no matter what.
Oh, dude.
Or they'll hate you.
Her fan page is following all of my Instagram stories. No, they're very supportive. They're slowly climbing up in my Instagram stories. I'm like, oh, Burnett fans, love you.
Okay. Wait, so one question about your fans. Do you have any crazy fan stories?
Burnetters? What are they called?
Yeah, what do you call the Mollies?
I don't know.
Pop and Molly's? What are they? No, we can't do that.
No.
I'm really popular at Coachella. The weirdest one, I guess, was the first time I was ever recognized. I was in a furniture store with my mom, like buying a chair or something. Like my first big purchase was a chair.
Which city?
Here in Sherman Oaks.
Oh, well, yeah, in LA, furniture's expensive.
It is expensive. That's a big buy for me. I was pretty stoked. But
keeping that chair for
congratulations, man. That's amazing.
Thank you.
So good you have something to rest on.
Yeah.
Rest on those laurels and those chairs.
Yes, exactly. And some woman came charging at me and was like, You need to be nicer to Max. or we're just not going to watch you anymore. And my mom was like ready to throw down. Like, who is this?
That's so funny.
And I was like, Mom, I think she thinks I'm like on the show still. So, you get, I'm grateful for anybody that enjoys what I do because that's why I do it, right? So,
that's amazing.
But, there's all kinds of crazy in this world.
I wonder what Joffrey from Game of Thrones character gets, that actor.
Oh my God.
No, but he's like really smart in real life. Like he's apparently like really brilliant.
He's
like
British. They're all smart, right? That's
that's
like a prerequisite
they sound
to being
smart.
British.
They
You're
sound
right.
smart.
Don't ever.
That's where they fool you.
Don't shoot in London because all those fuckboys will be all up in this.
Yeah.
Like, don't.
They get
Watch
you.
out.
Trust me, I've
okay.
the
Been down this rabbit hole
I've
before.
been down that
or
hole.
crumpet hole.
That
Or what holes do they have?
I don't know. She got sconed.
That tea. It was not. Yeah, I will not be going back there.
Damn. That must have been some good dick.
Okay.
She can't
Good
even go
destructive dick.
back to the continent.
It's all right.
I can't even go to the continent.
She's like, no, it'll fuck me up. Sorry, this was us in improv.
Yes.
They hate me right now. This is
what are you guys gonna call your improv duo right now?
I don't know. You're ready to dance. What should we? I have no idea. We're really bad at improv.
I thought you were yes-anding this. Let's go.
There's like
the Mollivies.
The
there's
Mollivies.
Call on
Polly
me.
Pocket.
Call on me. Molly and Paul. There's something there.
There's a whole song we're gonna do.
But I'm not. Yeah, I'm still.
We're a stand-up and an actor, so we can't do the song right now. Okay.
Okay, got it.
God. Okay. All right. Should we ask the last couple questions?
Yeah, we're at
so
an hour.
we ask all of our guests 2 questions at the end of the show. One is who's your we're Desi, which is like some parts of South Asia, India, Pakistan. So who is your favorite Desi or South Asian celebrity?
I
We're not gonna help you.
Have you worked with anyone on the soaps or any of your?
No,
I haven't seen any brown people on soaps.
It's about time someone did that.
Hassan Minaj.
Hassan Minaj.
Priyanka Chopra.
Cast me for General Hospital.
I think that's her calling.
go.
Look at those expressive eyes. Have you seen eyes that big?
Yeah, like
Stop it.
That disproportionate.
Yes, and my anime eyes.
Also, she would have no problem betraying a man.
Yes,
Max,
please.
that guy. Yeah.
So there we
Please,
go.
I will do this.
Yeah, sure.
Bring on the
okay.
hot meal co-stars.
So you like Hassan?
I love Hassan Minaj.
Did you see his special?
I did. Yes, I think
Yay.
he's so. I wish everybody would watch him because also the way he breaks down our political world is really special.
Yeah.
I love him, and Nishi is a friend of mine. She was on Relationship Status, and I want to say, I don't want to get it wrong and get yelled at.
Nishi.
No, this is a safe space.
Nishi.
Hold on, I'm looking up Nishi.
Let me hold on. I follow her on
Nash.
I follow her on Instagram.
Niecy Nash.
Yeah,
She's
Niecy
Stacey
Nash,
now.
the famous Pakistani.
Nishi. What was she on? What was she on?
She was on Relationship Status with me, and I love her so much. She's incredible. Nishi Munshi.
Munchie.
This is good because we like to.
Yo, under her thing it says God with the thing pointed up. I was like, is that
Munchie.
she's God? That's great.
She might be
Show some love to some South Asian actor. Let's see. What's her name?
Indian.
Nishi Munchie.
Nishi.
Oh my God! Oh no, we just became friends because she joined my acting studio.
Hey,
Yeah,
all right.
that's her. Cool.
That's the same chick?
Yeah.
Oh, she's amazing.
I'm totally gonna hit her up.
All brown people do know
Be
each
like,
other.
Molly loves you.
Yes, no,
and if
please
they
do.
don't yet, they will.
They will.
Yeah.
Facts.
And then our other question is, do you have any, this is a safe space, do you have any like things that you think would be like dumb questions to ask about our culture that you've always like wondered or
Sure.
like somebody from your childhood did something weird and you're like, is that a brown thing or is that just them?
You know, I'm from a place called Littleton, Colorado, which is white as shit.
I grew up in Utah, so
So you know.
I know.
Not quite that white, but it's pretty white. But my parents always made sure we were just around everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I never really grew up with like a fear of that. Like I just went to Qatar last fall.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool. For what?
My man's plays for their basketball team.
Oh,
Or he did.
okay.
Now we'll see. I don't know where he's going this year.
Did
But-
you have a lot of exposure to South Asian culture?
Or Middle Eastern culture.
No, not as much. We did. Do you know
In Littleton, Colorado?
in Bomar in Littleton? Aya. Did you hear about Aya, who was from Syria, and she was Humans of New York?
Yeah,
Yes.
I used to.
He found her, and she was a translator, 20-year-old translator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do know this.
So
story.
my family was trying to save her.
Oh wow.
And we were
amazing.
in contact with the IRAP.
The Refugee Assistance Project.
Yes.
I donate to them.
They're amazing. They're amazing. And we were trying to figure out like a non-linear, let's say we have a role for her or put her on an O1 visa because our government is flipped out and we are afraid of everybody. But I just feel like it's important to be more involved. In all of that, in acceptance across the board. I mean, Queen of the South is all Hispanics. I'm like the one white girl, and I prefer that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
You're trying to expose yourself to different cultures. You're trying to learn.
Yeah, and
She's so woke. I love her.
Thank you. We're just all, we're all just fucking humans, and I don't. It's easy for me to say because of how I was born, but I don't. Anything that I can do to just help everybody be down to be together as one. That was terribly worded, but.
Did you know Molly's a pothead? Did you know?
Does it come across that I smoke a lot of weed?
Bro, we got to be together as one.
We just
John Legend.
Figure it out as one.
John Lennon, Paul McCartney, they jacked off. We all got to jack off together.
But I got to say, though.
We got to be together as cum.
What?
And then we end on that.
Is she wrong, though?
No, she's not. I was with you. I was with you the whole way.
I wasn't not with her. I just like making fun of her. She's my friend.
All right, we gotta be together as one. Leave it at that.
There we go. Y'all are welcome.
Molly, where can we find you and become fans of you and watch you? And
Well, so what? My Instagram
Social media,
is just my name, Molly Burnett. Without an E at the end of Burnett. It's like Carol, but no relation, or my job would have been a lot easier. Ascending up.
That is true.
And I
A
have
legacy always helps,
Oh
right?
my God, it makes it so much easier. I have nobody. My grandma was in a singing group with her two sisters called the Dr. Pepperettes.
Nice.
And they sang the first Dr. Pepper theme song.
that's awesome.
Oh, so you
Super
had it
great.
made.
So
like,
I don't want to say it was easy to break in.
Easy for you.
But my fam's
were on third-
in the industry.
You weren't on third base. You were making a home run.
She's like, got that. She's like, excuse me, I don't want to audition.
In
My grandmother.
1942.
It was meant to be.
Have you heard of Dr. Pepper?
I don't know if you guys know Margaret Gomer. Yeah, no, they'd be it'd make it a lot easier.
They are so tired of me. All right.
They may just
where
be
else?
tired.
What's your other thing?
Oh, and I have a movie coming out.
Whoa.
Should have saved the bow for that.
On Lifetime. It's the one about, it's a true story about this woman in the 20s who hid her young lover in her attic for 8 years.
Wow.
Oh shit! I think I saw an advertisement about that.
And her husband didn't know about it.
Were you the woman?
I'm the woman, yeah.
What?
I'm the woman.
What's the name?
It's it was called Dalianato, which I really, really liked. And now it's called Lover in the Attic.
That is very exact.
Hey, do you ever role play the
accurate.
roles you play?
I have yet to do that.
Interesting. I guess you might have to be a narcissist to do that.
yeah.
You're like,
Or date a fan that it actually works with that fan, but then they're like, yeah, put the Melanie costume on. You're like, all right,
creepy.
this is- Yeah, you're right. You know what? No,
Yeah.
that's probably
When does the episode premiere?
It
the-
is,
The movie, right?
October
When's the premiere?
28th.
October 28th.
on
Go watch
Lifetime.
it. Lifetime.
Yay.
Woo!
All right. We are wrapping up, so I'll let you know all the Facial Rec social media. It's Facial Recognition Comedy on Instagram and Facebook, and Facial Rec Comedy on Twitter. We have our website, which is facialrecognitioncomedy.com, and our Patreon, where you can see Molly. You can see her in the videos.
You gonna
if
wave
you
to them, Molly?
subscribe.
Oh, that's a camera?
That's a camera the whole time.
Oh!
You're gonna be on the
I thought that was
Patreon.
hello! I'll just face this way for his whole time. Great.
No, it's
They
totally
have a
fine.
beautiful profile.
Yeah.
They'll be all right.
The Patreon is patreon.com/facial recognition comedy. We're going to be in Houston on this Friday on September 21st.
This one, so you missed it. Sorry.
I don't know if this is going to, and then we're going to be in New York on October 6th, and we want to pack that place out. So please
come out.
Come out.
West Side Comedy Club, Upper West Side.
Yes, 7 p.m. Be there. We're going to start on time, brown people.
Yeah, do not miss the first few people.
I'm saying that more for myself.
Yeah, Zara, the show starts at 5 p.m.
Yeah, Zara.
Thanks.
So get there by 5:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also have our show at Westside Comedy Theater in Santa Monica, the second Sunday of every month. I'm Pallavi Ganalan. That's PALLAVIGUNALAN. And that's my website, my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter.
And I'm Boom.
And
I'm Fizadasani at Fizadasani everywhere. FIZAADOSANI. And please note that there is 1 Z and 2 A's in Fizza.
And I'm Zara Ali. You can find me on all socials as Really Zara. Zara is spelled ZAHRA.
Thank you so much for coming to our podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure.
Everybody.
Thanks, Mom.
Goodbye.